Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. It's Saturday. It's August 3rd. It is a beautiful afternoon here in New York City. I'm over at one of my friend's homes. She went out this afternoon. I stayed here. I'm doing laundry, and I'm sitting here with her two dogs. They're being so quiet right now, and I'm hoping they remain that way. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're enjoying the summer. I wanted to start out by saying that someone in the XJW Reddit community shared with the group a video, a music video. And I just wanted to say to that person, thank you so very much for sharing that video with us. I cannot wait to see your career take off, and I'm sure it will. I want to encourage other teens and young adults. We all have some type of creative niche, and I'm hoping that you are discovering what those creative talents are, and that you're fostering them, you're nurturing them. So that's the one of the things I wanted to start out with as far as this video. Another item I wanted to mention is that I noticed you all are so very in touch and open with the XJW community on Reddit. And I want to commend you for that and ask that you continue to be that way. It's very important. And you can ask us anything. I saw someone ask about music. They wanted recommendations as far as heavy metal music. And the feedback was fantastic, right? And so that's one thing I want to commend you all on, and ask that you stay that way. Please stay connected to us. Feel free to ask us anything. If you encounter a setback in your exit strategy planning, just tell us about it, and we can help you brainstorm. All right. So today's video is going to be about homeschooling and your education. Someone mentioned that they had been homeschooled and now they're in college and they see that they're lagging behind their fellow students. And, it was troubling to them. And so I wanted to shoot a video about that. In this video, I'm going to talk to first to the teens who may be currently being homeschooled, and then I'm going to address the young adults who may have already, been homeschooled. They're out, now they're, you know, in college or whatever, and they're seeing that their education was substandard. So I'm going to be talking to both groups, right? We're just going to take it step by step. And the way I'm going to start this is by um, I want to talk to those who may not be familiar with Jehovah's Witnesses and education, the problem of education. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Jehovah's Witnesses don't value education. The reason why is because they feel that Armageddon is imminent, and that once Armageddon happens, the paradise earth will be here. And so their child does not need to invest all this time and all this into education, right? So for them, they'll take their kids out of public school and homeschool them. And that homeschooled education will not be up to par with what, children in public school, the education that they're receiving, it will not be up to par with that, right? And so why do they take their kids out of school? They don't want their kids around non-JW students. They don't want their kids with their teachers or guidance counselors who may be encouraging them to go to college. Sex education classes, that's not welcomed. Evolution, the teaching of evolution, that's not welcomed. So they'll take their kids out of school. Another thing that comes up is, again, they feel that the new system is coming. Their kid can just go into full-time service, recruiting more members for the cult. So instead of going to school, right, some parents just opt to have their kid drop out of school. They tell their kids, listen, you have a ninth grade education, you can drop out. I want you to drop out of school. All right. So there's a Pew Research Center study, and it shows that Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the least educated religious groups in the country. I'm going to put information down below in the box, but yeah, they don't value education, and as a result of that, many teens that are stuck there in the cult, they're paying the price for that. Um, so let's pretend now that you're a JW teen, you're being homeschooled. What can you do? The first thing you can do is you gotta proactively take charge of your education. In one of the first videos I did in this series, I mentioned that cults make you grow up quicker than your peers. Things that your parents would normally take care of, your health issues, your education, a lot of their attention goes straight to the cult. So they just leave you hanging. They kind of leave you to take care of yourselves. And so that's what cult life means. It means that you cannot rely on your parents to look after you and take care of you in a proper manner. They're going to do just enough to make sure you're okay. So that means all the other things you're going to have to look after. And that includes your education. So I want you to proactively, monitor your education. One of the things you can do is go on Google and you just Google the phrase. Let's pretend you're a 14-year-old, you're an eighth grader. Google the phrase? What should an eighth grader be learning in math? What should an eighth grader be learning in history? Subject by subject. What should an eighth grader be learning in science? And then now that you know what your curriculum should be like, what the material you should be covering in school, now the hurdle becomes how do you learn that information? And one of the best ways you can get that information, two ways you can get that information. One, free online, the internet. There are educational resources that gives this information. It's kind of like tutorial. I don't want to say tutorials, but yeah, it's kind of you know educational resources and tools to help you learn that subject. So, for example, if you need to learn algebra or trigonometry or whatever it is, they're online websites that have this information and share it for free, and you can use these tools to learn that subject. So that's one of the ways you can learn the subject. Another method you can use is going to the library. There are books for everything. Um, the series, I think, is like algebra for dummies or trigonometry for dummies, and all that whole series of subjects for dummies. That is a good way to learn. So again, there are math workbooks and things that you can learn, that you can get to learn whatever subject that you're struggling with. But again, I recommend that you try to do it online free if possible, and then if necessary, go to a bookstore or whatever and try to get the book. But the important thing is that you try to learn the subject as best you can, as best you can. Another way you can do it is if you know of someone who is good in that subject, maybe a friend or something, that you can use video chatting for that person to tutor you. So via online, they can tutor you in that subject so that you can learn it and master it. So that's my biggest suggestions for those of you who are currently being homeschooled, right? Um, if you another option that I want to bring up is if you can, depending on your parents and you know them way better than I do, talk to them and see if you can talk them into putting you back in public school. One of the biggest reasons I recommend public school is because if you are, you know, if they have you quarantined off and you're by yourself, they don't want you around the general population. At some point, you are going to have to join the general population, whether it's to get a job or whatever, right? Even if you go to college, you're going to have to interact with others, at some point. So they are not helping you when they keep you isolated. Socializing with others is going to be a challenge the longer that you remain isolated. So I do not recommend it. And if you can talk to your parents and help them realize that, they're doing you a great disservice by keeping you isolated like that. You're not going to, you let them know the real world does not function like this. And so if you can talk to them, that I recommend that. Um, if you are in public school, I just thought of this and I want to throw this out there before I forget it. If you are in public school or being homeschooled and your parent just says, listen, I want you to just quit school, you can get your GED, blah, blah, blah. One of the things, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend quitting school for any reason. So even if you have to call Child Protective Services or something, and you just, I recommend you doing all you can to remain in school, right? You are entitled to an education. It is a human rights violation to deprive someone of their education. So I strongly recommend you make a case, and take it to as many city agencies and government agencies as necessary. Like I said, even if it's child protective services, and fight for your right to go to go to school. Um, Again, do not let your parents convince you to quit school at ninth grade or whatever it is. Try to remain in school until 12th grade. All right. So, what should you do now if you're already out of school? You're already out of school, and you're noticing that now you're in college and your education is substandard. A lot of the advice and the recommendations I gave for the teens, same are applicable. Use the online free online educational websites that have tools and resources for you. Use library books, study groups. If you can find someone to tutor you, that would be great. Again, even online tutoring where they can via video chatting, they can tutor you. So that's my recommendation. Don't give up. Just you. It means you'll just have to work a little bit harder. Okay. And so this subject of your education, it is very important because whatever you invest into it, it will serve you in terms of your career and finding jobs and all of that. So I want to encourage you, please, 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 if you're being homeschooled, make sure that you're receiving a standard education. If you already are out of school, don't give up. If you're struggling in various subjects or whatever because of being homeschooled, don't give up. Just keep at it, right? And like I said, you'll just have to invest a little bit of more time into getting caught up. But you can do it. You can do it. All right. So I hope this video helps. As I mentioned, I'm going to be putting some information down below in the box below, right? And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. And I'm I'm going to keep making these videos. I'm looking for feedback. I need topics that you want me to cover. Please. I saw one person sent me a message via Reddit, and I'm going to get to the topics they recommended. But again, I appreciate it. I'm reading your feedback and I'm taking it into consideration and everything, and I will be doing videos on it. But again, feel free to tell me any topics that you'd like me to cover. All right, so I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. I love you all. Bye.